Alright guys, we did it. We got the Heated Madness blueprint. And now this video is going to cover my favorite hints and tips of how you can easily do this as a solo player. I know it can be super intimidating, those tunnels. You're in the pitch black, you need your night vision goggles, there's hundreds of squads going for the weapon cases.
You shut up! You shut up! I'm so scared right now, you shut up! Are you doing this? No, I'm doing this!
This video will make it easy for you. Now you want to make sure you're running a comms vest and heading to this entrance to the tunnels. The comms vest will give you a heads up if there are any squads in the area. It is notoriously difficult to get here. It is often camped. There is evidence later in the video where there are poor players that have been murdered and left. But I highly recommend heading into the tunnels from this entrance. It's going to be the waterways or the barracks. So I recommend having a rebreather with you, but it's not essential. So first up, we're going to look at probably the hardest part to get, which is the grip. And you're going to need 3 AQ laptops. So my first tip is 100% bring a secure backpack, grab one of those AQ laptops and then exfil. Make sure you're coming into the tunnels with at least 1 AQ laptop. It will make your life so much easier. Now on the way here through the waterways, you don't need to worry. It's not essential to have a rebreather. You can keep your head above water here, make your way down the corridor, explore as much as you'd like to. But when you're entering the tunnels, make sure you have that objective in mind, which weapon part you're going for, and go for it. So I ignore everything else, all the loot down here, take out a little bit of the AI, and I noticed my second laptop. So there we go, I now have 2. Every time I've run this, I've always been able to find 2 AQ laptops easily. So if you already are bringing in 1 AQ laptop, you will have no problem finding the 3 that you need in order to get this part. And look at that luck, another AQ laptop just sat there on the side. I've not even entered the complex and I've got the 3 laptops I needed. Easy peasy. Now we're going to avoid that part of the wall that you need to destroy for another weapon part. Make sure you're crawling under these lasers. Avoid them because they will down you no matter what. No matter how far away you run or you jump away from them, you're going to go down if you hit those lasers. So this corridor, again, you don't need a rebreather. You can keep your head above water. Head into this room and then follow the arrow on the wall to exit the flooded barracks. And there you go. Now we're coming up to the chemical plant. There's a couple more AI here. And you can see they are a bit tanky when you're using your assault rifles. So 100% recommend the shotguns. Any shotgun. Just pick one up, add a silence to it. Add whatever attachments that you like. Just use any shotgun and you'll have no problem with the AI here. This room often spawns an AQ laptop as well. It doesn't for me in this instance, but I don't need to worry about that. I've already got the 3 that I need. Now make sure you're listening out to your comms vest. Whenever you hear enemy operators are nearby, that means there's players. Whenever there's enemy reinforcements or anything other than operators, you don't have to worry. That's just AI. So ideally, when you're entering the chemical plant, you want to whack on those night vision goggles. Listen out for any footsteps just to make sure it's not being camped. Equip that shotgun and you'll have no problem breezing through the AI in this place. Now you'll be exiting via that one there, the funny B in the 1. And another one of my tips is to use the Warzone tactical map for DMZ. It's an amazing resource. It highlights where all the player spawns are, all the locked locations are, and it's a really easy map to follow to help you navigate. So we've entered through the flooded barracks here, all the way along, and we've come out into the chemical plant there. There is an alternative exit that will take you into the boss area, and I will be showcasing that in a future video. Now we are out of this B1 exit, and we're heading over to the Alpha cluster for this grip. You will also need jump cables and a car battery in order to have enough power to open this C2 door. Now the jump cables and the car battery is super easy to find in Al Mazrah. Head to any garage and you're more than likely to find them. Now be careful, there is a sentry gun here. But all you need to do is get up close and personal and a couple of shotgun rounds and it's done. Obviously, don't land in front of it like I did and literally tank the sentry turret. Now I'm going to play the full length of this clip because it can be so easy to get turned around and lose your bearings and not know where you are. But you can always jump onto these server racks and head towards these pillars that will have the lights and look for the ones with a little cable coming out. This is where you need to connect those laptops. Now instead of running this direction, this pillar here doesn't have one of those cables. So I head backwards on myself. But if you follow this pattern, it will be much easier to find the room where this part will be. Heading over here, this server does have the wire, so we connect another AQ laptop. Now I do recommend taking out some of the AI. Unlike me, they can get really pesky and annoying and just constantly beaming you. But using the shotguns, any shotgun, you'll have no problem one-shotting them. Sir, please, leave me alone! And make sure you've got self-revives. Save yourself the embarrassment and bring plenty of self-revives. Now when you're dealing with this, with the AI, it can confuse you. But you want to head to this area there where there's a little symbol on the pillar. And you'll find the last AQ laptop that you need to connect. And then just behind you, over towards the northwest, so keep an eye on my compass. That room on the top left there is where you'll find the weapon part. Again, look, tier 3 AI, no problem with this shotgun. Just quickly make sure I equip my self-revive, that would be embarrassing. Make sure I'm fully plated. And then head up here. Trying to jump as effectively as you can as I'm getting beamed in the back. But we're in. We're safe for now. And there is the grip. Now my comms vest is screaming at me that there are other operators in the area. But take your time. Loot whatever you need. The durable gas masks are super useful. Anti-radiation pills. All of that will be needed for future parts. Make sure you're fully plated. Take out some of those pesky AI and then head to the nearest exfil. You don't need to pick up all of these weapon parts in one go in order to unlock the blueprint. The easiest way is to do one at a time. And especially for the part requiring the laptops, make sure you bring in one of those AQ laptops at minimum. It will make your life so much easier. Now you can do that through the no exfil glitch that I've showed in a previous video if you don't have a secure backpack, but grab a secure backpack. It is pretty manageable to do that now, even as a solo player. The chemist is also a really valuable boss that will drop you a great weapon that you can modify at the buy stations, and he'll drop you that gold skull. So there we go, the first weapon part, probably the hardest weapon part as well, done. Easy peasy. Let me know down in the comments if any of those tips have helped. Let me know which weapon part you've struggled with most. And there will be timestamps so that you can skip to the weapon parts that you're struggling with. And we are out of there. If the doors will close. There we go. Honestly, the AI is so pesky in this area, but the shotguns make light work of them. Get out of here. And we are done. First weapon part in the bag. Up next is the muzzle in the same location. Now this is the picture puzzle that you'll need. So you'll have to grab a bit of equipment from the central part of the chemical plant. You can see there it looks like one of the Geiger counters, but this will let you look at a wall and reveal the kind of secret or UV writing that the AQ have used to disguise the code that you need to open the door. So the door that you'll be opening is on the south wall. So use your compass to navigate your way around the room and head to the area where there's 2 sentry guns. then you'll know you're in the right location. I'll also show you a spot that I use to constantly get my bearings in this room, because it's so easy to get turned around, have no idea where you are, where you're supposed to be going. But the AI in this area are manageable, so it's 100% doable as a solo player. If you're ever struggling, just head up to the platforms, get the high ground, get your bearings back. Now this platform in particular I find super useful, because towards the end you'll see where it's broken and you can head down, and this means you're near the south wall. So keep going through these server racks. You can see the lasers from the sentry guns there. Take out some of these pesky AI. Gonna get up close and personal with that shotgun. Get out of my face. Make sure I'm fully plated. And then take your time working through here. Now those server tapes I believe are useful for the shop, which I'll showcase in another video. I'm not at that mission yet, so they don't mean anything to me. Get rid of these AI up here. And then just be sure to take out at least one of the sentry guns, and it will make your life so much easier to then take out the last sentry gun. Just keep popping away until you see that scrapped, and it's done. On to the next one. Now I could come up behind it and probably just one-shot it with a shotgun, but I decided to just keep popping away with my assault rifle. So there is the door. So bring up that equipment to see the code, and then jump straight over the platform there to look at the first blackboard that will have one of the codes. So there, that funny B is now code 1. So when I first did this, I found it so hard to find the right blackboards. If you're too far away from them, it doesn't show you anything that's written on them. Some of them just have nothing useful on them as well. But you only need to work out 2 numbers for the code. And then from watching other videos, I've realized that 7 is the number that will be missing from the codes that you need. So keep making your way around, looking out for those blackboards. There is a blackboard over here by that platform with the destroyed part, the destroyed floor. Again, not useful. It doesn't match up with the code that you see by the door, and it doesn't give you a number. But there you can see what I think is a 7, which is maybe a hint as to say that 7 is always part of the codes. But let me know down in the comments, has 7 always been part of your code? There, another blackboard with no useful information. It can be super frustrating. But head over to this section of the servers where there are the lasers and the C4 trip wires, trip bombs. Make sure you're being super careful, because they will take you down in one hit. And over here is another blackboard where we've got our second number, so 5. So our code now is 1, 5, and then I believe it's always going to be a 7 will be the missing number. So get those 2 numbers that are part of your code. It will change. Oh my god, almost getting killed by the trap there. It will change every game, but decode at least 2 of those numbers, and then try 7 as the last one. It worked for me. I've seen it work in other videos, but let me know down in the comments if it works for you. So heading back to that south wall, again using my favorite platform. As soon as I see the broken, destroyed part, I know I'm in the right place. Keep going through these servers. There's a little bit of time pressure. I had a minute 20 there. And we pop that code in. So 1, just double checking, 1, 5, and then a number I don't know, but I'm assuming is 7. 1, 5, 7, and we're in. Simples. Now there's loads of useful loot in here, so grab everything that you need, grab all those self-revives, and there is your muzzle. And all we need to do now is exfil. 100% grab any shotgun you see in this area. They're so effective, they're so much fun to use, and they are my new best friend in DMZ. They are that secondary weapon I was talking about that absolutely destroys AI. Now we just need to exfil. There you have it. 2 of probably the hardest weapon parts to get. uncontested by other teams because I think most people are focusing in on the boss and the weapon case now. So we can exfil, no problem. We are out of there. If these tips do help you guys, let me know down in the comments. I'd appreciate a like and do consider subscribing. Up next is the barrel. So I always recommend going into the tunnels with the car batteries and the jump cables. But don't worry, you won't need to craft night vision goggles. And I've also noticed a glitch when I craft the rebreather, but for this attachment you need to be quick. So rush through that waterway entrance, get to the center of this chemical plant, and you'll have the highest chance of being the first person to grab the barrel, which is located just in this little vent here. This guy absolutely oblivious to me. Just there. Now I have noticed other times I've been trying to go for this weapon part. If I haven't been quick, if I've been looting too much, that building there will have the piece of equipment that you need for the picture puzzle. You'll also have AQ laptops as well. But I've noticed if you're not quick and to get to the center of this map for that weapon part, it's often gone. It often means another person in your map has already grabbed it. But yeah, this is probably one of the easiest, quickest ones to do. You really do have to rush to get that part. And we're going to exfil through the alpha cluster, which is why I have the jump cables and the car battery to open this door. And get to our exfil elevator. And don't forget that pesky sentry gun, as it beams me there when I'm being oblivious. Just need to rush up to it and then one pump in the back.
What did he say?
Now this is another one of my tips. If you want to cover your tracks a bit or get awareness if there are other teams pushing your location, make the most of the proximity mines or the betties. Now throw them in areas where players are not likely to see them, and it will give you a heads up. You'll get a broken armor indication when they have been tripped, so then you'll know that enemy players are pushing you. Here we go, calling in our lift, and we are getting out of there. So that's 3 weapon parts done. No problem as a solo player. Let me know down in those comments which parts you're struggling with most, and I'll do my best to help you. But we are out of there. Up next is the magazine. So this is in the radiated part. You won't need jump cables and the car battery to access this. But I highly recommend having a durable gas mask and those anti-radiation pills. So I get very lucky in this spawn. I don't need to open additional doors to find the weapon part. But you want to make your way down these corridors. You can always check out these rooms. Again, there's an example of laptops lying around that you need for the 3 AQ laptop challenge part. Head down this corridor. This entrance, I believe, is to the boss, but you can check that DMZ tactical map to see where that leads. And then before you rush into this area, you'll probably need to take out a few AI. I only had to take out the one, and the sentry gun only took a couple of bullets there. So this is the Oasis entrance. So there was probably a team that tried to enter the complex through here and has taken out most of the AQ for me. But luckily, they didn't reach the weapon part. So explore the doors that are already open. And then I like to close the doors once I've checked the room. And this is to make sure that the exit stays open. Because if you open all of the doors, you'll then need to close them in order to get out of this part of the map. And as easy as that, I get very lucky, and the second room I check, there is the magazine part. So it does spawn in different locations. It's not always going to be in that exact spot, so you will have to search around. I don't really need to even close this bunker door because you can see my exit is open, but I do it just because it's habit, because nobody wants to be stuck in there with a broken gas mask and your radiation pills ticking down, because you can die. All we need to do is exfil. So I heard on my comms vest that there were enemy operators around, so I'm being cautious. Listening out for any footsteps, any audio cues, any proximity chat, and head into the nearest exfil. Now this shows that you also don't necessarily need the night vision goggles to navigate your way around the chemical plant, but I do highly recommend them. It makes life so much easier, and you'll be able to see so much further down the corridors than without using the night vision goggles. Now this is the TAC 56 that you can pick up from the sniper, nope, you know, Mazra on that tall building. I always try and grab that gun. It's a very solid gun, and it's readily available for free. You don't need any skeleton keys. You don't need to kill any bosses to pick up that gun. So I highly recommend checking that out. But we are out there. All that's left now is the Optic. And this is probably by far the easiest one to get. But before that, I'm going to show you an easy regain. So you don't need a helicopter to do this. Basically, you want to head to Al Mazrah, and we're going to be entering the UN embassy, or the American embassy, or basically the embassy. So I have a chopper in this game, so I'm just flying over there. But this is an unbelievable glitch. You won't need a skeleton key, or you won't need this key to access this building. Absolutely ridiculous. And if the pyro boss is here as well, oh wow. So head up here, jump onto this roof, and then lie down, and you'll notice that you can unlock the deadbolt from the roof and open the door. No keys necessary. Now the loot in this location isn't fantastic, but I've normally found a 3-plate vest. And to deal with the riot shield boys, you just need to jump on the railings there and shoot down on them. Especially when they're coming up the stairs, you can just shoot them in the back. Nice and easy. And then head over to this room at the end of the corridor, just on the left. And there's normally an orange crate there, and a 3-plate vest. So I highly recommend checking this out. I'm really hoping I can show you a video of doing that exploit and taking out the pyro boss as well, but I need the stars to align. I've been trying it multiple times, and I've been downed a few times taking on the pyro with just a 1 plate, so I don't recommend that. So there's evidence of a poor DMZ player who's been destroyed trying to head to this entrance. But if you have that comms vest, you will know if there's any players here. It's by far the easiest entrance into the Koshi complex. Now our final weapon piece is the Optic. Now you will need a rebreather for this section. Highly recommend that. I have tried crafting them at the buy station, but for whatever reason they seem to be bugged. So you want to make sure you've got a fully equipped rebreather there. But don't worry, the first part you can casually swim around and keep your head above water. Nothing to worry about in the first part. You don't necessarily need the rebreather for this bit. Now I would keep your eye out for a couple of keys in these locations as well, and I'll explain their importance in the next video. But take your time, check out the loot, grab anything that you need, anything interesting. You might get lucky and you might find a rebreather down here as well. I hadn't in my testing, but it's not necessary for this section because you can keep your head above water. So take your time, don't panic. There's no AI you need to deal with around here. I've not come across any enemy players. So I believe as soon as you enter this location, anyone that enters behind you goes into a new map, I believe. So I've never had to contest anyone once I'm in this location. So I often find those keys I'm talking about by the beds or behind some of the boxes. But here I don't find it, which makes me think maybe there has been players go in front of me and they've already looted the key. But let me know down in the comments where you found the keys. I'm talking about the A and B keys. Now again, every section here you can keep your head above water, so there's absolutely no need to stress. And follow around here past the lockers, checking if there's anything useful. Lots of items you can sell at the buy station if you need. Head through this broken part of the wall. and then jump up here. So this is the first section where there's a couple of AI to deal with, but again, those shotguns will make light work of them. Just a couple I need to deal with there. Then you'll want to head to that section of the wall that needs to be destroyed. Now you want to either throw a Semtex, throw a Betty and shoot it, anything you can to destroy this part of the wall. If you've not got an explosive, defuse one of the traps and grab the C4 and you can use that. Now the first section here, you can explore. Ooh, a big backpack, that's useful. And head back to grab your breath. So it might be possible to explore quite a lot of this area without a rebreather, but I 100% recommend having one. It just makes life so much easier, so much more chill. And now I don't know if it's just me, but I struggle to use this rebreather so much. I had to look up how to actually use it, but you must be still and press your trigger button. So your trigger button in order to shoot your weapon is what's going to be the trigger to use the rebreather. So you'll need to do L1 and R1 to equip it, and there is the Optic. Again, the Optic will spawn randomly, which is why you need this rebreather. But you'll need to be still and then press your trigger button, whatever that is. It's R2 for me. I know for some people they run R1. But press that trigger button in order to use or take a breath from the rebreather. There you go, we have our Optic. It's the last part we need. We're going to follow the arrows here just to check out if there's any other interesting loot. But we are done. We just need to successfully exfil now. So heading back. We're going to crawl under these lasers. Make sure not to trigger them because they will down you. And if you don't have a self-res, you're going to have a bad day. But if you need some kind of explosive to get access to that part of the waterways, just defuse one of the traps and grab the C4. Now this section, you don't need the rebreather again. The corridor is where you can keep your head above water. But there's plenty to explore, plenty to loot down here. Make your way into those rooms, have a wander around, have a swim around, and then head back to that corridor to get your breath back. As you can see there. Or if you've got plenty of rebreathers, make the most of them. Now there's often night vision goggles down here, so again you don't need to build those or stress. There's always at least a couple of guaranteed spawns down here. I've always found night vision goggles. And in order to get out of this room, you need to head towards the end of the corridor. In this room here, where sometimes there's some really good loot like that. Let's just grab my breath quickly. You want to head through the door and then follow the arrows on the wall there. Through this doorway, and we are out of there and on our way into the central chemical plant section. Here there's a couple more AI. But I promise if you bring any shotgun into this area, you will make light work of those AI. Just like that. Now take your time. Keep your ears out on your comms vest callouts. Make sure there's no operators camping this section. I've not come across anyone camping doorways like this, but you'll often hear the AI walking past. Equip those night vision goggles just to make it even easier. And then you'll want to use a weapon that doesn't have a thermal scope like this TAC-56, because you'll notice whenever I aim down sight, my night vision goggles turn off. All I need to do is switch to my shotgun, and then I'll be able to keep my night vision goggles on. Head into the nearest exit. So sometimes it can get super tense in this chemical plant section. But there are little cubby holes, like these little vents here, where you can hide in order to avoid engaging with a team of 3. But as I like to say, a 1v3 a day keeps the sweats away. Don't be scared to take on those fights. It will help you improve in your PvP. and make you a better DMZ player. Be cautious. Listen out for any audio cues. Make the most of that DMZ tactical map. Here I believe is an entrance into the factory where the bosses are. And you can see someone needs another key in order to open that. But we are exfilling with our last weapon part in order to secure this heated madness blueprint. And all of this done as a solo player. Easy peasy. So let me know down in the comments, what weapon part are you struggling with most. Let me know what hints and tips helped you the most as well. And if you've enjoyed the video, smash that like button, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next video.